Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ondřej Matějka. I'm from the Institute for the Study of the Totalitarian Regimes here in Prague. And it's my honor, together with Rostislav Valvoda from the Prague Civil Society Center, moderate this evening, which is dedicated to the situation in Belarus 1 year after the election. Yesterday, our institute awarded Maria Kolesnikova, represented by her sister Tatiana Khomich, and Franak Viacorka by the award of the Institute for the Study of Totalitarian Regimes for Human Rights and Democracy. I'm really happy that we could use their stay in Prague for this evening in order to debate more properly about the situation in present-day Belarus. Now, Rostislav, you have your word.
So indeed, I'm pleased to be here and pleased to see you here. I just want to introduce the rest of the panel, that is namely Kryscina Šyjanok, who is one of the members of Belarusian minority here, and also she had a leading role in the Medevac program. So I hope we will have a good debate. And I'll just start a little bit by setting the stage of what we have seen in the past year, and have it over to the panel, and then also to you, to the audience. So stolen elections are not a new thing in Belarus history of the past 2 decades, but last year's in some ways was really still quite unprecedented. Where there managed to be some independent observers in the precincts and the polling stations, they would report, 80% for Svetlana Tikhanovskaya. So really, this was overwhelming. The kind of loss of the regime, the loss of Lukashenka was really unprecedented. And what kind of triggered this was, of course, the massive protest that continued for months and months, and basically thousands and over time hundreds of thousands of people were making it to the streets to actually protest this election rigging. And many people actually said at the time that there was this "we are the majority" moment, that for the first time people felt that the opposition that's been kind of stolen this election from, for the first time with the wider public, felt that we actually are really the majority of the nation. And yet, over time, the repressive apparatus, although kind of clearly shaken, still stuck with the regime, with Lukashenko. He also went to Moscow for support, and somehow they managed, with increased repression, to stay on. And over time, they would crush the remaining independent media. They pushed people into exile. They liquidated scores of independent initiatives or NGOs that were still there in the country. And then, of course, the Protasevich sort of moment, again, a bit of a moment, where fighter jets were sent to basically ground a civilian plane traveling between 2 EU cities, and it doesn't seem to stop. We now are having a crisis, thousands of people on the Belarusian-Polish border, artificially sent there to create conflict. So the question is, what's next? What can be done? What should be done? What kind of the thoughts are? Because clearly, there are still people who are doing amazing job. In fact, either in exile or inside the country, that keep continuing, although the risks are really huge, to organize, to somehow try to keep the spirits. And you know, the question is what can be done to kind of sustain this over the long term, so that the fear and sense of helplessness that the regime is trying to create doesn't really seep in. So that's kind of the setting of the stage. But I would first like to turn to each of the panelists and ask Tatiana, and I'll start with you. I think what just would be interested to hear first, foremost, is how is your sister doing? How is she, and how much of a contact can you actually have with her? And maybe if you could also share a little bit about the other prisoners, because you also, apart from campaigning for your sister, for the release of your sister, you also actually have become a sort of campaigner for all political prisoners that are there in Belarus.
So Maria, as you probably know, so she was sentenced to 11 years in prison, and she's still in Minsk. It means that probably in future she will be sent to colony. We already know that it will be women colony in Gomel, in other town where there are already a lot of other women political prisoners. And she's alone in the cell for already for half a year. So she was somehow, they decided to deprive her, yes, to reduce amount of communication with other people. Still there were some cellmates before that. There are constant problems with correspondence, some kind of problems with journals and magazines and so on. So, because it's also a way of communication and getting information from outside, and also for people to receive information from her. Because, her two lawyers were deprived of their license during the year. And one of the lawyers had to leave the country already because some constant pressure continued towards Lyudmila Kazak. And of course, it's a constant pressure on Maria, yes, using different ways. But despite all these facts, she's smiling. As you probably saw during the video and photo from the trial, she was showing her heart, having a smile, and like here, yes. And during the year, they didn't allow to meet relatives. Our father is in Minsk, and he just requested every several weeks a meeting with her in a prayer detention center. And he was refused, and they just allowed it in September for 1 hour, this September, 2 months ago, and in November for 1 hour also. So, and it's like a meeting, not in when they can hug each other or just touch each other. It's a meeting in a room separated with a glass wall, talking on the phone. Of course, everything is listened. Like they cannot. It's not a meeting for two of them only. But father also says that she's always smiling. Yes, like that. And actually, because I see him, I spoke to him after the meeting, and he's so inspired because she's so strong there. And the same is about her letters and her correspondence. I mean, people who get it, they just cannot believe that men or women can be so positive after a year in prison under such pressure. And of course, we see that not all political prisoners so positive, yes, and it's natural. Of course, it's natural. Some of them are driven to despair and they go on hunger strikes or try to hurt themselves during the trials, like Stepan Latipov. It's because it's constant psychological pressure against them. And some of them go on hunger strikes, like Igor Losik. I think he did it even several times a year. So because it's too difficult. Yeah, so some of them have the same problems with correspondence like Maria, not all the letters are received by them, not all of them are allowed to meet with relatives. It's also a kind of pressure on the people, so that they think that they are forgotten, and I think this is the most important for them to receive, to feel this support from outside, so that they understand that they are not forgotten, that people outside of prison think about them in Belarus, in other countries, and we know that sometimes letters from abroad also received by them, so it means that we should move this wave, create these waves of letters and campaigns constantly from different countries, from everyone, so as much as we can.
Yes, and I thank you, and I think this kind of sense of strength that your sister has, it really kind of comes through some of these few pictures or videos that are there from the courtroom, indeed. Franak, you're not obviously in Belarus. You couldn't be. You otherwise would probably be in jail as well. But you are doing a lot of work from outside, from exile. So, can you describe a little bit what is it that you are actually trying to do from exile, and what do you think is actually possible to do from exile?
Thank you, Rostislav, and thanks for organizing this discussion. You know what is the most precious resource we have and we need to win? Any ideas, Rostislav? What is the most important resource?
I would say hope.
I would say energy. Energy. More general, energy.
That's connected.
Exactly. Energy can include hope, optimism, some secret knowledge or super skills, but energy, it's something that you need in order to support the movement, support the processes, support repressed people. You need energy in order to mobilize international community, which is very difficult to be mobilized. It's like an elephant, you know, and you need to hijack the plane if you want to really mobilize them, because before that there's this, you know, sleep mode on iPhone, and you have to wake up call like 55 times, and then this hijacking plane, it was like the super alarm, which worked well, but unfortunately the reaction after Ryanair hijacking was not enough. So Lukashenka felt somehow he can continue, and today what we see, and yesterday and day before yesterday, that's the continuation of what started last year. Which this crisis, which made Lukashenka cornered, and he, according to all rules of genre, as the cornered person, as the cornered threat, he started to do some crazy things, and the question is, this crazy cornered person, how far he can go in all this craziness, and what other tools he still possesses we are not aware about. I think we are doing everything we can do. Basically our tools are also limited, and our energy is also limited, because you see, you know, that if nothing is happening, people are getting tired, and this fatigue, it transforms into depression, frustration, and many of those who were like super active, super mobilized last summer, right now they feel, oh, we lost everything, as in the past, Lukashenko will be forever, Masha will stay for 11 years, and this is something which is not because we lost optimism, but because we lost energy. And small successes, small things, like letter to political prisoner, like exclusion Lukashenko from Eurovision or cancellation of ice hockey championship, it gives you energy. Some things are giving you more energy, like your battery on your phone, you know, like something gives you 20%, something gives you 1%. And you either do some big things to get to this 100% of energy, which will be enough, you know, to make another hit, or you will be 1%, drop by drop by drop. It will take longer, but still you will get to this 100%. But the moment when you stop charging, you lose. So why I say this, that we are not stopping charging our phone. And we are not stopping charging our revolution, our revolt, our uprising. And this is something we are doing not alone, and not only Svetlana Tikhanovskaya's team, but also Politsec, me and Coordination Council, Babarika's team in Warsaw. Diaspora groups here in Prague, you know, what Kryscina and I see Sergei as well and other people are doing here are amazing. It also gives the energy to the movement. We are meeting foreign leaders. Svetlana meets Angela Merkel, plus 2% to charger. Biden, 4% charging. And you have always to support. So this international work, it's just another way to attract energy, but also to attract another chargers and more tools in order to support the surprising mood you have. You know, more people are motivated, and the longer effect of their things, of their actions is. We try to work on the ground with the people. And you know, this charging cable is not always working well between the borders, across the borders. So to charge people on the ground, it's much more difficult, but we are sometimes successful, and sometimes, you know, we still see the signs of resistance there. Like Svetlana Tikhanovskaya yesterday mentioned in the interview to R&D, German press, she said that, you know, for me, meeting with Merkel is the same important as the sticker put on the bus stop. And I think this is exactly what we are trying to do in Belarus. We try to explain that there is no small things and big things. All things you are doing are important. So by poll, leaking information about official, it helps. Workers' movement, trying to collect information about workers, give them some instruction how to strike, how to protect their rights, it's helping as well. Some is that outlets that are being created, sometimes they disappear, sometimes they are cracked down, but they help to support this ongoing process. And we hope that at some point there will be another trigger, or we will manage somehow to get our charger to 100%, and there will be a new wave, new hit. And we are living with this feeling, and we support this feeling, and this is how we will be winning, you know, just always by supporting the energy. And we need strategic patience for this, we need consistency for this, and we need allies. More allies we have, faster our battery is charging.
Yes. Luckily, there is no wireless charging around. Kryscina, you've been mentioned as doing things here on the ground in Czech Republic as well. Can you share a little bit what you've been doing and also what you kind of hope over time to be doing?
First of all, I should say that I'm not the only one key person here in Belarusian diaspora in Czech Republic, and this is, I think, the main difference between the diaspora before 2020 and the diaspora after 2020, as much more people are now involved in different processes. And probably I should describe a little bit the background. Belarusians started actively to come to Czech Republic in 90s. So one of the first Belarusian organizations that was established in Prague, it's Skarina, and it was established in 97. And for now, there are more than 20 organizations here in Prague who are more or less active on Belarusian topic. Some of them were established by Belarusians, some of them were established by Czechs, some just in combination. And as we are in Václav Havel Library, I should mention Civic Belarus, which is originally Czech organization, and it was initiated by Václav Havel many years ago, and you see we still need it. And now, after 2020, appeared a lot of initiatives that are not related to the organizations appeared, and a lot of projects that unite people from different organizations, groups, even from different countries. And I think this is one of the main differences about our situation, I mean, in diaspora before 2020 and now. The activities, they didn't start after the 9th of August 2020. They started before, and I should mention one of, I think, the main activities that is also something like a milestone. It's exit poll, as Belarusian diasporas in different countries united and coordinated somehow to provide the information about real votes during the elections. By the way, here in Prague, Tatiana Khomich won the elections officially, not only in our exit poll results, but for the first time in history in the Prague Republic, they really counted our voices. That's why now we don't have a Belarusian ambassador here, because they took him back.
Badly done.
To fair ambassador.
One of our achievements. And about the things we have to solve somehow and to work on, I think it depends on the phase, because different phases of Belarus, the fight of the Belarusians against the regime, they demanded different activities on the side of the diaspora. Before the elections, one of our goals or one of our activities was something like encouraging people inside Belarus to be active. Of course, it sounds a bit strange that we are outside and we are trying to say to be active, to be brave, but I think that people felt this support, and they knew that it's a wish to win in this game. It's a wish of millions, not only inside the country but also outside the country. As far as I know, more than 3 million Belarusians live abroad. Now, of course, the numbers have changed, and I don't have the statistics, but they are much higher. After the night, the crucial night, the 9th of August, a lot of changed, and there were different demands in front of us, and one of the demands was to make everything possible, everything we could, to make Czech Republic to recognize Tatiana Khomich, maybe not as official president, because we can't say that elections were fair elections, and we don't have enough evidences, but something like a president-elect or the leader of the democratic change. And it was not an easy task. Sometimes politicians, they support you, but they are very accurate in formulations and in their actions. And it was a big job to make them, for example, to make a first call with Tatiana Khomich. And it was the role of diaspora, because we are something like a bridge to convince them to behave like that and not to communicate with the official authorities in Belarus. Actually, they are not official. They proclaimed about themselves that they are official authorities. And the other task, mainly here in Czech Republic, that we faced was, we just felt it like a task, to organize medical help for people who were injured. As far as you know, we know it from videos, from photos from Belarusian streets. Belarusian forces used grenades that were produced in Czech Republic. We don't have, of course, the evidence that the company that produced it sold them straight to the Belarusian side. It's possible that there were other subjects in this chain, or the police, the Czech police, even say that it's possible to buy via internet, that it's not the stuff that is somehow regulated. And we felt that it's our obligatory obligation, obligatory must, that we should do something about that, at least to help people who were injured by these grenades. And when we got involved in this process, we something like no one from my team or from our initiative or from our humanitarian consilium, we didn't have any experience in this field. So we just, normally I'm an interpreter and translator, not in English, but in Russian and Belarusian, and suddenly I became an activist, and I didn't realize this moment when I became an activist who is trying to do everything to pull people from injured people from Belarus to Czech Republic. And I also didn't notice the moment when it became not safe for me to go to Belarus. So, and I think the same can say the same thing can say a lot of other people from our diaspora, because they are active in different fields. Maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, we found out that Belarusian authorities, anti-Belarusian authorities, probably it's more correct, they started a criminal case against one of the girls from our diaspora here in Prague, who was active, and her activities were related to connecting journalists from Belarus with journalists from Czech Republic. So it was enough for them to start a case. Now, of course, sometimes we feel depression, but at the same time we feel that we can't stop, because that point that was like crucial, it's behind us. And now we just should move forward. Sometimes the steps are bigger, sometimes they are smaller, and not all people can see them, because sometimes they are not such significant. But I can assure you that diaspora really is really active till now. Maybe we don't appear so much times now on the streets, because now it's not the main goal. As Tatiana said, one of the main goals for now is to tell more to politicians or people from culture, from sports, about political prisoners in Belarus, so they can take part in a program of good parenting for political prisoners. One of the aims or goals that we have for now is to do everything possible to make Belarus not active in Interpol, Maybe my formulations are not very correct. The point is that Belarus sometimes uses this system to make active people abroad, to take them back to Belarus, so they can put them in jail on political grounds. So it's a new. Nobody from the diaspora has experience with this, so it's our new field. But it's very important, and I think that only we understand the real demands. So nobody can. Of course, some organizations can help, but they can't articulate the needs. We are those who should articulate and make the first step. And I will be really glad if after this discussion, which is in English, more people here, and I suppose from EU, because they will see this video on the website of the library, will realize that it's really one of big problems for diaspora to face these things with Interpol, and not all countries manage to solve this problem, and here in Czech Republic we just started now to speak about it openly.
I would have a question about the situation in Belarus still. Is it possible to say whether Lukashenka still has a kind of support in the society, or does he actually have only his violence of the repressive apparatus, or are there still parts of society who somehow believes him or supported the regime, or is it possible to say, or is it an outrage of the whole society in Belarus now at the moment, and it's just set down by the simple brutal power of the repressive apparatus? But is it possible to describe it somehow?
I would say that there are still people who support him, and of course the amount of such people reduced after violence during last year and during August 2020, because for many people it was like a great surprise that Belarusian authorities can do that, because there were thousands of people who were just black and blue, yes, from the top to the bottom, because of violence in pre-detention centers, yes. And I would say that for many people it was like a surprise. And of course all this violence during the year also reduced the amount of people who supports him, but still there are some people who because Belarusian propaganda still works, yes, not everyone follows independent media, but it's not the big support, yes, from the other side. So we have some data. It may be like around 20% of people who still support him, yes, but maybe plus minus, yes. But of course. For many people, it was like an opening of the eyes. Yes, after stolen elections, after the violence, and through all this year, what is happening, all the actions with the airplane, with the scandal during Olympic Games, with migration crisis, and so on. So.
Here in Czech Republic, 22 people voted for Lukashenko, so we know for sure.
Out of how many?
22.
Out of?
More than 500.
Okay.
Okay. And could you see some strategy how Lukashenko is working on putting the society under control beside the violence? Are there some other strategies he's using?
lot of them, yeah. So I think now a lot of activities, and during this year actually, I used to vanish all the activity to vanish civil society. So it's like a very step-by-step process that is happening. It looked like maybe in spring that there was some calm moment, yes, that like stopped, but then a new wave appeared, and there were it touches all the spheres of society. So it started from changing the laws, law on media, law on extremism, prevention of extremism, law on a legal profession. Something else was changed, so it's like, yes, to raise the control of authorities inside these spheres. And now it's touches NGO organizations. 275 organizations are liquidated or in the process of liquidation during last several months. It started in July, and it was enough, like 2-3 months it was enough to close almost everything. So it's like a step-by-step process to control all the spheres, to kill all these society activities.
What's amazing that actually, no matter what the regime does, this pressure, they push people out of the country, but people still somehow restructure and keep working. I mean, independent media are a case in point. They try to close down actually one of the leading portal, one of the leading independent media outlets, and they just were pushed outside. Of course, they had to change the way they operate, but they keep going in many ways. I wanted to ask, actually, not to ask so much about what the regime does, but what civil society and media and society at large do. What, looking back the past year, actually, what was it that actually made you sort of proud, or we thought actually, wow, this is actually amazing that we achieved this as a society? Were there some of these wins, or what are the projects, if you could just describe a few of them that you think are really effective and make a lot of difference, either on the ground or outside somehow?
I can try perhaps, Tanya.
Okay, yeah.
And Kryscina as well. So basically we received the second part of Belarusian civil society. So we have always, this traditional civil society full of brave people, fantastic NGOs doing important work, and suddenly we got lucky to receive additional layer, like additional infrastructure, extra network of people, of initiatives, which are using technologies, very modern people, without this experience of losses. So they were not afraid of experimenting or doing things that traditional civil society tried and it didn't work. And in 2020, these both forces or both layers of civil society, they worked together. Some of them were doing traditional work like human rights defenders. It's very difficult to be innovative in human rights defending sector because it's very similar, always the same. Supporting people, political prisoners, lawyers, attack, crackdown, and again. But for example, in media, we saw absolutely fantastic initiatives. We saw how young people who are like 19 years old, 16 years old, 25 years old are creating fantastic projects on Instagram, on TikTok, on Telegram finally. And they're leading this project and transform these small initiatives into big, fantastic outlets or media networks. And all these networks, they developed into one big wave of energy in summer, just before elections. And in August 2020, all this energy, just like came out. And perhaps August 16, you could see the result of the energy which was accumulated in the last 20 years. It was created both by traditional civil society and this new civil society. If you ask me to name the projects, first of all, those groups who helped fighting COVID, by COVID initiative, which later transformed into by Health and by Soul foundations. Some of the people from Buy COVID, they created Fund of Medical Solidarity, and right now they unite doctors from different cities around Belarus, and most of them are still in Belarus. There is another initiative which was impossible to imagine 2 years ago, like Sports Solidarity Fund. Today, Alexandra Romanovskaya was detained. She is one of those who were from the very beginning at this initiative. These are just athletes who say, Lukashenka, go out. Frankly speaking, this is the main things they have done. Because they were not involved before, they didn't help political prisoners before, they didn't create organizations. They just say in August that, guys, Lukashenka must have done. And this is also heroism on their side, and Lukashenka perceived it as the betrayal, because for him sports, same as workers, were always his electorate. You know, I am the father for all this nice, smart workers, people, sprinters, bobsleigh players or whatever. And suddenly we found out that these people hate him. And this is this initiative that appeared. It was very surprising to Lukashenka, and he was really offended. Same as striking committees. Striking committees or Рабочий Рух, later the striking committees created Рабочий Рух. Gosh, who could imagine that workers will create a real striking committees like in 80s in Polish Solidarity? Impossible to imagine before, and it happened. So all these things together, you know, they created this phenomenon, which we call Revolution 2020, which is not ended yet, which will bring much more surprises. But what we have to do, we have to sustain and save the momentum. We have this momentum with this very fertile ecosystem where nice ideas can transform into fantastic projects. And this is what we are trying to do to support this initiatives.
Yeah, I totally agree that it was like solidarity, one of the biggest like, let's say achievements. Yes, solidarity in culture and medical sphere, among workers, among also who was there? Sportsmen and so on. Yeah, so it's like one of the achievements. And the other one, I would say that the campaign that was election campaign, yes, last year. So the main goal was actually to make people active, to make people go and vote, to not to stay at home like everyone did during last several elections. Actually, yes, no one went then. So because we know that our friends, relatives, and ourselves, we didn't went there because go there because we know that nothing will change. So and this campaign started with new leaders, with new faces, new people who participated in it, and even some of them were arrested. Yes, like Tikhanovsky, Viktor Babarika, Severinets, Tatkevich. Yes, even from the very beginning. Then we make it and transform it to support of and. Union of forces to support Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, and also it was a huge movement to make people to go and vote. Just one step, one action. Yes, just go and vote on that day, not before. Yes, and it worked actually. So we succeeded in it. And what it and actually now reflecting and thinking about it, what happened. So it's also a human right work because it's a right to. Vote for who you want, actually, and vote and right to be elected. It's also a huge human right work that was done last year. And after that, it's the next achievement. So people who for many years, for more than 20 years, were apolitical, actually, and it's thousands and millions of people, they became so interested in politics, what is happening, and they just, as I said, they just saw all this violence, what is falsification. It became obvious for many people, and after that, so it's like a new wave also for people to become interested in politics, what is happening, and follow what is happening during long months. So yeah, we have achieved very many things actually.
Kryscina, would you like?
Well, I think I can describe everything that has changed inside Belarus because I haven't been there during the elections, after the elections. So I'll just try to describe main achievements here. I think that one of them, maybe the biggest one, that we managed to unite the Czech parliament and the president office upon the question of Belarus. Yeah, no, any other country managed to do that. And speaking about what diaspora really did, I think that one thing has been already mentioned. It's help to people who were injured. It was provided via Medevac program, which is medical humanitarian program under the Ministry of Interior Affairs, and diaspora had a very active role in it. The second achievement, it's something like opening of the embassy of Belarusian culture in Brno. And this embassy is doing its best to provide residencies for people that are involved in culture and are not able to work in Belarus now, or had to leave the country because they were somehow persecuted by the authorities. And the third main achievement, it's that Škoda didn't support the hockey championship in Belarus. And by the way, this was something like a horizontal activity. It was not a campaign organized by one organization. Different people with different backgrounds were involved, and they managed it. So that's it.
Is there something you could tell us here in Czech Republic you would need from us in order to support your activities, either in Czech Republic or more in exile in general, actually?
Maybe I will be the first, but I can continue. One of the things that is difficult to speak about, but I consider it an important one, is starting the cases, the criminal cases, with the principle of universal jurisdiction. Czech Republic has never done that before. At the same time, there is a law, and we don't need to change the law. It already exists, and the only thing we need to apply this law. I know that this topic needs a big political will and political interest. And our voice is not heard. It's not strong enough. So we really need help in this field. Another thing I have already mentioned. We want Czech Republic not to take seriously things that come from Belarus via Interpol, because I suppose that in some cases the reasons are purely political, and we need to prepare some mechanism how to solve this thing, and also support and help to political prisoners. You know, some of the political prisoners, there are more than 800 now, officially, if we speak not officially, I think more than 1,000, maybe 2,000. Some of them were somehow connected with Czech Republic, and I should probably mention some names. One was already mentioned, Ihor Losik, Roman Protasevich actually also used to live in Prague and used to work for the Radio Free Europe. Zadok, he wrote a book that was translated into Czech language, and he visited Czech Republic several times to present his book, his views, to speak openly about Belarusian prisons, because he already was in a Belarusian prison before for 5 years, and this week he was sentenced again, and now he is supposed to spend 5 more years in a prison. And also Marfa Rabkova, I think that she has not been sentenced yet, but we are afraid that she will be sentenced to 12 years. She was one of the people who helped us with injured, because we needed to verify somehow the cases, and she was in Minsk, and she documented these scenes and helped us to verify everything before we concluded that we need to take this person or that person to Czech Republic to provide medical help, and some others. And it will be great if people here will not officially adopt some of them, and will start, for example, to write letters. When we speak about political prisoners, many people ask, what should we write about? It's difficult because we are looking forward to one or Christmas here, and they are in prison, maybe they will be sentenced to 12 years. You can write about everything except the critics of the regime. Otherwise, your letter will not be delivered, and it will help them to. It will make their days brighter, actually. And you should not be a political figure or a key figure in culture to write and to write a letter or to send a postcard to some of the political prisoners. So I think from my point of view, it's the main things people here in Prague, other cities can do.
Any other suggestions, tips, or
what would you need from
items?
the Czech politicians?
We are waiting when new government will be formed. We are trying to establish connections, and also during the last few days we tried to meet some leaders of the coalition which won the elections. So we will see, and we hope that the new government will be very proactive on the international arena. First of all, we hope for the Czech presidency in the EU. It will be in July 2022. And we already spoke about some events that can be organized about Belarus or with participation of Belarus. Real Belarus, not Lukashenka's. So independently how the situation will turn out, Czech Republic can already prepare and help with this Eastern Partnership Summit. Ministerial Conference of OSCE. These are places where Czech minister has the same voice as the German or French minister, and this is very important, to use these opportunities, and to use the time you have on the international arena, to promote your values. And Belarus, I think this is exactly what Czech values are about. We hope for some assistance projects. We know that there is Prague Civil Society, Člověk v tísni, Občanská Běloruska, there are diaspora organizations, but we should rethink, how this assistance work. So not only so the projects, they really, and the help really reach people on the ground, in the country, but also help the structures, organizations that work here from Czech Republic to exist, to help those on the ground. I think it's a good time right now to rethink, to redesign, to make it more efficient, so Czech Republic also can help unilaterally, not waiting for what the EU will decide and what the European Commission will provide.
Yeah, I would say that there are two directions where we need support. So one of them is supporting political prisoners and people inside Belarus who are, we say about it that actually together with more than 1,000 political prisoners, millions of people feel like imprisoned in Belarus, being imprisoned due to constant repressions, arrests, and so on. So it's and the second one is thinking about future, caring about future, about free new Belarus, and preparing for that. So talking about support of political prisoners, you have a great experience of solidarity, that like a great experience that you have 30 years ago, yes. That we need also, yes, and people need to feel it. And what I'm do, yes, I try to involve politicians to support political prisoners under Get Parenthood program, some symbolic adoption, so we need more politicians. And actually, as Kryscina mentioned, not only politicians, but other famous people can support, speak on behalf of political prisoners in Belarus. And it already works. There are more than 200 politicians from European countries who adopted political prisoners in Belarus. So we need to spread it also among Czech politicians. We already started. It's just small steps, and of course we will do it further. And and here we also need support from civil society, because if you will care about it and talk to your politicians that you should support political prisoners and human rights in Belarus, they also will do it, because they should be attentive to their society, actually. So we need also your support here. And talking about future, so one of the possibilities is development of Eastern Partnership Program. It was stopped, yes, but I mean with official authorities, with Belarusian official authorities, but it can be proceeded with civil society, yes, the people who are abroad and people who are inside, and in different directions. So we can start about thinking on and creating actually prototypes and like core initiatives in different spheres that can be in future transferred to new Belarus. Yes, and we can start it already creating it, even being abroad, involving people who is there. Of course, it's will not be so like publicly and obviously, yes, but still people on the ground are ready to do it. And it can be like prototypes of new universities, new secondary schools, new ecological, the climate adaptation system, business administration. So there should be also trainings for people who will do it, yes, who can do it now. So it's not a long-term scholarships, but some target training for people. It can be also media direction, yes, also to support this transformation, to constantly work on instead of like propaganda did, yes, currently, so but make it in a new way, in another way, promoting new values, yes, and we don't know, yes, when it will happen, so but we can start to do it already now. So yeah, and of course we need support and experience of Czech Republic here, and I think there can be a lot of collaboration, yes, between human rights organizations and developing new civil society in Belarus.
Maybe one more project comes into my mind. as far as I know, Czech Republic had something like a program, holidays for kids who lost their parents in Maidan in Ukraine, and it will be great if we can do something like that for kids of from families where there is one or more political prisoners now. And also I should say that some political prisoners have been released, and they need psychological help, they need rehabilitation. And it could be also a project, it could be also very important help.
Thank you. I wanted to open it up to the audience for you to ask questions, some things that you are interested to hear from the panel. I just wanted to add that kind of there was this discussion about the solidarity organized by Belarusians in exile, and just by way of example, this by solidarity, that this is something really much more than just some sort of symbolic or moral assistance. This is also very practical material assistance. They managed to fundraise several million euros from diaspora and actually assist those who have been either persecuted, lost their job, or have been in prison. So that's also really something very practical and important. So yes, questions from the audience. Mm-hmm. And you can, and just forgot to mention, you can ask the question in any language. You don't have to feel pushed to.
Questions for Mr. Franak?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're waiting for the microphone. Yes.
Yeah. When was Svetlana elected? A year ago or 2 years ago? She declared that she wants to be neutral to Putin and to Europe. And I would like to ask you if this is changed, because I think from Europe you have plenty support, and from Putin's Russia they support only Lukashenko. So if that was changed. And second question is about what's the difference between Belarusians and Ukrainians, because Ukraine had a Maidan in 2014, and I know it's very difficult, and in stake there are lives, and it's very difficult. But what's the difference? Why it was suppressed in Belarus? It's because Lukashenko is so strong and aggressive, or and Ukraine was not so strong. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. So, question?
I see. On Ukraine, there are many differences. Of course, it's very easy to put everything in the same framework. Contexts are very different. Plus, Ukrainians didn't have dictatorship since Soviet Union collapse. Ukrainians had the previous revolution 2004 before, so they had the different political and then context also, and understanding and the mood. So 2014 also was a bit different in the world perspective. It was before many other events that happened. Plus, Belarus from the very beginning, it didn't include any geopolitical aspect. The Ukrainian revolution started with the non-signing of European documents by Yanukovych in Vilnius, remember? And then student protests, and then Euromaidan, etc. In Belarus, it was very, very different, because it was about one guy who got mad and lost support, got crazy, and just people wanted to get rid of him. And this is why the mandate which Tatiana Khomich received from the people, it was about getting rid of dictatorship and conducting new elections. If Svetlana Tikhanovskaya or anyone else will start expressing or sharing other ideologies or geopolitical aspirations, it will break the agreement somehow. It will break the deal, because this deal with the society was pretty clear. And this focus on new elections, focus on mobilization society, on dismantling dictatorship, it helps us to stay united. Never before Belarus democratic forces were so united for so long. And this movement is so strong also because there is very strong focus on one particular goal. And but I don't exclude that after changes happen or elections announced, there will be so many parties, so many quarreling, and perhaps this is what we are fighting for as well.
Thank you.
This question about neutrality against EU.
Yeah, I tried to include it, yes. So this is the mandate Svetlana Tikhanovskaya received, and it's not something she is able right now to express her attitude, to Russia or European Union. She's trying to mobilize all sides, all countries, all players, all stakeholders, as you can see. She met even those who are far away. New Zealand. There was meeting with Ghana. There was meeting with Uruguay, with Turkey. These countries are not very interested in Belarus democratic development, or in general development, or general Belarus. But but still, it's about finding allies. Building new perspective. Building connections, and she's successful in this. And thanks to her, Belarus became the subject of international policy, not the object, like it was for many years.
Thank you. Is there any other question in the audience?
My question would be, and whether two of you can respond, how you would describe your hope?
Who wants to start? It's not an easy one. But maybe Tatiana, can you?
And I have actually a lot of hopes. Yes, of course, I want my sister be free. I want thousands of political prisoners be free, become free. So I think that these are the main hopes. And of course, I understand that we all of us will need a lot of need now a lot of things to do still. Yes, and as Franak said, I would say that my hope that this we will have enough energy to do it, because we know what to do next. Yes, and what we just need one maybe breakthrough moment. Yes, we should. I hope that it will come soon. Yes, so because as we already told that we made so many things, exciting things during this more than a year already. Yes, and I'm sure that will be an extraordinary new Belarus. Yes. And we have so many active people that really want to work on a business and build civil society, build NGOs and so on. And we know how to do it. And people just understood it. Everyone understood it, that we know what to do, but we don't have possibility now. Yes, and we didn't have much possibility during many years. So I hope that it will come soon.
Well, this day 1 year ago, Roman Badorenko was beaten and he died after that. And my hope is to be able to commemorate his memory in Belarus and to speak about all this stuff in Belarus. And I think we are very close to it. Of course, I can't say how much time we still need to reach this goal, but we've never been so close before.
Would you like
I
say
agree
something
with
about charging?
Your hopes?
I agree with everything, and I don't think people here are that we can have something different. All of us are sharing the same expectations, same hopes. All of us are dreaming to come back home. All of us are dreaming, all those who are in prison, to get back home. So I think this is the hope number one, which will be a very important milestone. So everyone gets home. Of course, it will not be the ending point, it will be just the beginning of many other things, but I think this is the number one task.
And we even, I would say that everyone in Belarus and now the Belarusians abroad, when they have a birthday and on New Year Eve, so we, all of us, have one desire, one wish, yes, and actually when like we try to congratulate each other, actually everyone understands that there is only one wish, and it's like it sounds like a good joke, yes, but it's really because everyone understands that we are common in it, like only one wish, and yeah, and everyone wants it on a birthday, and expects from a new year coming, and so on.
And you know, most Belarusians, they have a bottle of champagne in their fridge at home because we are still hoping. Yeah.
So bottles is one of the expressions of that. Is there any other question from the audience? If not immediately, then
Everything is clear, you know.
Everything apparently.
And this is exactly about, it's about Belarus.
Yes.
And this is what makes...
So you just don't need,
this is why we will succeed, because, you know, there is no like controversy. Everyone understands everything.
Yes.
You know, there is black and white. And, you know, you don't need to convince anyone in this room. And this is the hope as well, you know, this is the sign of halfway to victory, you know.
One thing I wanted to ask about is not black and white, but white, red, white.
And white, red, white.
In my dress.
And your dress, but also that flag. Actually, is it like, how has it changed actually over the past, say, year or 2 years? The meaning of it. What does it mean to people, and to how many people actually? How has that changed? Can you describe some of that?
Again, maybe somebody will describe the situation in Belarus. Of course, I saw photos, I saw videos with hundreds of people with this flag, and I had a feeling that they had it somewhere hidden in their flats, and now they just took it and started to use. But actually, I don't know, because I haven't been there that very moment. I wasn't there that very moment, but I can describe how the situation changed here in Czech Republic. Of course, our Belarusian minority and more widely Belarusian diaspora that lives here, we used to use this flag, and for us it's a national symbol actually of Belarus, of Belarusians. But the thing that has changed, there is a house of national minorities here in Prague, and from the very first day we got a room there. It was a fight to use the appropriate flag on during different exhibitions, in different magazines, and so on the website, and we used to lose this fight because it was difficult to convince somebody to put something that is not official on the website, even on the website. Now I'm a member of the committee of the national minorities under the magistrate, the municipality of Prague, and they started a new website, prahanárodnostní.eu, and our minority, the first one, Belarusians, and there was the official Lukashenko's flag, and I didn't even need to convince somebody. They started to apologize during our meeting, and it was great. It was a great feeling, and last week there was a conference for national minorities of Czech Republic, and with even with the participant of the guests from abroad, from Slovakia and other countries, and on all materials they used this flag. And I was happy, I was grateful, and I think that it's a big progress on the part of Czech society. So they accepted this change.
I saw at the German Amazon, the description "freedom flag," €5, white, red, white, without any word about Belarus. So it's not about Belarus anymore, as you see.
It's about freedom, symbol of freedom.
Exactly. So it's about creating symbols and phenomena. Yeah.
Yes, so indeed, so this is probably also something that's changing, that kind of is uniting in a way the nation behind.
And I think that we should add that Belarusians have become very, very creative, and some of them during the demonstrations they didn't use a flag. They used, for example, socks in these colors, or dresses, or T-shirts, and so on. So now it's widespread.
Thank you very much. Our institute was established by the Czech Republic in order to reflect the Czech experience with the dictatorships in the 20th century, the Nazi occupation and then the communist dictatorship. It's a hard job very often to keep this reflection alive, and that's why I'm really happy that we could have you today here in order to stay in touch with the real debate about democracy and freedom. Otherwise, even here it would die if we wouldn't be in touch with you, with your spirit. I'm really happy that we could experience your hopes and your feelings about the future, even if it's so hard as it is in the present day Belarus. Thank you very much for coming to Prague, and goodbye for everybody.
And share a glass of wine with us. Thank you.
Thank you.